Thank you. I would stick to the 5 minutes deadline because I have just one slide to talk about. And it's a very, very micro level initiative, primarily an experimental innovation to look at ICT from the worker's perspective. The entire Mahatma Gandhi NAREGA ecosystem, where and how ICTs can be deployed, and looking exclusively from the worker's perspective. We are not looking at management related issues. And this was done as part of an innovation initiative from the Rural Development Ministry, as the chairperson has mentioned. This actually started with an interesting scenario where NAREGA has managed to create a very, very impressive data system which gets almost real-time information available on the MIS. That information is available for everyone except the workers. Because technically it's there on the internet, but it's in text form, it's in English, so it doesn't make any sense for the workers. So in reality, the information is not there. So what we tried to do is to build on that. So you can actually see at the center of the slide, this is the NAREGA MIS. So we are saying that we are not creating additional data system, but how do we can extend that data system to get that information delivery, as well as help the worker in transactions of the entire ecosystem. So it begins with actually registration. Now you have heard in the UID session about mapping UID data, biometric data with existing data set. That's exactly what we have done. Because the workers' job cards are there, we simply mapped it with a biometric fingerprint. It's not iris, it's only biometric, but completely compliant with UID specifications so that we can map it to the UID database later on. And once this is done, we also have looked at information delivery using mobile tool. But this is and this information delivery is on voice mode. Basically, what happens? Someone's identity, worker's identity is authenticated through biometrics, and once that biometrics authentication is done, the system picks up the data from the central MIS, converts the data from text to voice, and speaks out. The worker, if you can see on the diagram here, this is a worker actually using the system, and we know that worker would not be able to navigate through a mouse and a keyboard, so it's a touch screen with graphics-based navigation, which allows the worker to do limited amount of transactions. The transaction include demanding for work. The reason why we introduce that demanding for work, because many places, those who are conversant with NAREGA work, you will realize that demand for work is a problem in many areas. So this is an alternate channel which now allows the worker using the system to demand the work. And since the demand gets immediately registered on the central system, so it gets official. It gets a dated receipt in the prescribed form to the worker, which has now been accepted as the valid document for recording of the demand of work. As you know, in the Act, the work needs to be given within 15 days of demand. So that's how the work enshrining what is the entitlement of the Act has been attempted. Now that's one from the worker side, but we also need to look at the panchayat functionaries problem. So what we have, in terms of demand for work, the worker can also make a choice of which work he or she would like to do. There are 3 or 4 work sites on the panchayat, and the most convenient one. And based on these 2 choices, the panchayat functionaries' work has been reduced for making that work allocation. So this is up to that cycle. Next is a very interesting bit, because there is a lot of issues on measurement. So the system now starts taking attendance on site. because a lot of complaint happen that attendance doesn't happen real time. So here is a system where the attendance is taken once again through biometric, but there is a GPS device attached to that so that we know the lat long of the work site. And since in the panchayat there are only 3 or 4 work sites, so the lat long of those work sites can easily be identified, and it's mapped accordingly so that we know on day so and so many workers are actually attending at so many at X amount of time, and these are the identity of the workers. And this data is made real time for the district level functionaries and also at the state and national level to see how many workers were there on specific work site on a particular day. And this becomes a very easy decision making tool in terms of speeding up the payment of to the worker. So this is probably the 80% of the ecosystem. The next happens is actually payment transfer to bank. This you can see I have put on a dotted box. Now the payment transfer to bank actually is happening through another innovation program. So we are now looking at linking the same database so that the entire ecosystem can be completed. And this is an interesting innovation which is happening in 2 districts in Rajasthan, 3 panchayats, not more than that, to see whether it's doable. And based on last a year's experience, we know it's doable and probably ready for scaling up. Thank you. Very